Hello,
Uh,
everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Cecilia. I'm here with Fabiana, my friend. Okay, Fabiana and I met when we were undergrad students, okay, at UFRJ, which is the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, okay. And now Fabiana has been a professor at Inter Queen's University in Belfast for 2 years, right, Fabiana? Yeah,
yes.
as an
I,
EAP
if so.
professor, which
Mhm.
is English for academic purposes. And she's also the acting manager, the program manager at, can you help me? Year
Yes.
one?
So I am an acting program manager for the International Year One programs in management, finance, and
In
accounting.
accounting. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
right, Fabiana. So, could you tell us more about your experience as a teacher, when you started and how you started teaching?
Yes, but before I do, I would like to thank you so much
Thank
for inviting
you.
me to talk to you and to your subscribers in your channel. So thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
the invite. No problem. Well, yeah, so I started teaching back in the year 2000, and I think both of us, and we were in the second year of our course, our university, our undergraduate course. And at the time, I wasn't sure if teaching was really for me because I was a very shy 18-year-old girl, and I thought that I was not going to be able to do it. But I decided to give it a go, so I did apply for this part-time job, and I'm glad I did because I think it has changed my life, and it has become my career. So yes, I'm very happy I did it.
Great. So, yeah. So after the undergrad course, yeah, you did your master's degree in applied linguistics at the same
Yes.
university, right, in Rio de
Yeah.
Janeiro, and then after the master's, you did your PhD in Belfast, where you live
Yes.
now, right,
Yeah.
in
At Queen's
English,
University.
Queen's
Yeah.
University.
Yeah.
What was the course?
Yeah. It was my PhD is in English
English
language,
language.
the linguistics stream of the course. Sorry.
Great. So yeah. So why did you choose the UK, and
Yeah.
which route did you take?
Okay. Yes. So, as I said, I did my master's degree in applied linguistics. And while I was doing it, my master's degree supervisor would ask me about my future plans and if I wanted to apply for a PhD. At the time, I thought that, yeah, that's something that I wanted to do, that I wanted to pursue a career in research. But I wasn't sure where or what I decided is that even after I had finished my master's, I would still keep in touch with her, and I would still attend meetings that she would organize with her students, and she would meet them perhaps once a month to discuss research and research opportunities. And she used to have she organized those meetings under the name of Hedges or networks, and she would try to establish links between Brazilian students doing modern languages, English, and other languages, and students in other universities, either in the UK, in Germany, the Ukraine. So that was very good because it gave me the opportunity to meet students' peers who would have similar research interests. But it was in one of those meetings that she talked about scholarship opportunities abroad. She had been talking to some people that she knew in the UK, and they had informed her of those opportunities. and one of them would be to pursue a PhD degree at Queen's University. I hadn't heard much about Queen's University before, but I knew that they had a very strong English School of English department, especially for linguistics. And I thought that it would be an opportunity for me to continue with my studies, perhaps apply for this scholarship as well. And so I think it was very important for me to keep in touch with my master's supervisor, even though I had already finished my master's degree, because it showed her that I was interested in carry on with my research. And I think once I applied for a PhD effectively, I listed my attendance to those meetings as part of my CV. So I think it was evidence as well that I was still engaged in academia. So that was, I think that helped me.
That's great. That's great. So, and what are the most challenging and what have been actually the most challenging moments that you've encountered so far in your career as a teacher, as a professor? What are they?
Well, as a teacher, yes, I think there were many, Cecilia, and it's difficult to identify one. But talking about my PhD experience, part of it was teaching at undergraduate level to students who were doing either a major in English or who were taking English language modules. So, and that it was not compulsory, but that's something that my PhD supervisors encouraged me to do. So I did apply for that, and then I taught 2 modules at undergraduate level while I was doing my PhD. And in one of the modules, which was an introduction to English language, introduction to linguistics, there was a task in which students had to listen to a CD, and they had to identify the accent that was being used by the speaker and the attitudes that society has towards that accent. So it would be, for example, the case of some people finding the Yorkshire accent quite friendly, quite nice. So yeah, so all and RP pronunciation quite posh, and so to make students reflect on the attitudes that one might have when one listens to us and identifies a specific accent. The issue was that I couldn't.
Could you identify the accents yourself?
Well, no, perhaps 20% of them, and the students obviously would identify and would know exactly where that person was from. Even very subtle differences between Hull and Sheffield and Leeds, and I think the objective of the task was achieved because they understood that, and then they would talk about the attitudes that they have. That was very challenging for me, and even if I go back on that task and try to do it again, I don't think I'll be able to identify those nuances. But it was interesting for them and for me to be part of that and to discuss, perhaps as a foreign national, coming in to that discussion and saying my own views about it. So it was an interesting discussion, but it was quite challenging.
I can imagine. Yeah, were most of your students British nationals? Were they?
Yes.
Do they come from different parts of the world?
Yeah, well, there were some students from other countries in Europe doing Erasmus. So, so that was interesting as well, because then they would also contribute towards that, discussing what they would think before they came to the UK, the standard of English that they had learned, and what they would consider to be British English before they arrived, and then they realized that it's much more diverse than what they had originally thought. So that was very interesting as well. But I'd say that 90% were either British or Irish.
All
So
right. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but it was okay. Hopefully, it worked well for them as well. But yes, so that
It
was
was
challenging for
challenging,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and Fabi, what is it like to be a non-native English speaker, teacher?
Yes.
So you've achieved your PhD. You teach undergrad students.
Hmm.
What is it like to be? Do you feel that? Do you feel respected? Do you feel valued as a teacher? How do you see that?
Okay, yes, definitely. I think it's important for me to say here that 50% of the EAP teachers where I work at Interqueens are non-native speakers of English
Wow, that's
from
impressive.
a variety of countries. So that's very good. Well, I'd say that it's quite unusual to hear someone praising the qualities of a teacher because they are a native speaker over
Mm-hmm.
a teacher who isn't. It's quite unusual, and that's I think that's an achievement for all of us.
It is
Uh,
certainly.
in the rare occasions in which this happens, I think we should really stick up for ourselves. I think we should, and I think there are many reasons why. Um, for example, the fact that we have been through the learning process,
Mm-hmm.
learning English as a second language, I think is an advantage because we can see the struggles and the challenges that our students
Exactly.
face under different lights.
We are
I'm not saying that
bilinguals, right? We are bilingual
definitely.
teachers. Uh-huh.
Yes, yeah. And I think because we have experience, we might be able to, yes, we certainly see those challenges under a different light. I'm not saying that we're better or that we're worse, but I think we definitely contribute
Mm-hmm.
to the discussion. And I also believe in the collaboration of native and non-native speakers, teachers of English. I think it's also very important, and I can see that happening where I work. And for example, teachers would come to me and to the other non-native speakers and say, "Do you think this would be particularly challenging for speakers of
Oh, that's nice.
Portuguese?"
Uh-huh.
Yes, because we do have quite a lot of speakers of Portuguese in our center,
Mm-hmm.
either from Angola, from other countries. So I think that's very interesting. The way that do you think there's so they would come to us and ask, do you think this is particularly challenging because you wouldn't have that sound in your language?
Mm-hmm.
So I think once this collaboration is established, there is no room for prejudice.
Prejudice, yeah.
Yes.
So, do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think they non-native English teachers? Do you think they see you and other non-native as an asset? Do you think so?
Yes. Oh,
That's great.
definitely. Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think they see us, and all of them would come to us and say, "I wish I could be as fluent in a second language as you are." And it just gives us this great sense of achievement that we are recognized as successful learners of a language as well. So, and I think for the students, some of them might recognize us as non-native
Mm-hmm.
speakers of English, which is fine, and some of them might not. But I'm just very open, and I say it in my first class. Yes, English is my second language, and I do understand specific challenges that you might face when you learn a language. And some of them would say, "Oh, can you share what you have done to
Oh, that's
learn?"
nice. Mm-hmm.
Because it's nice because
Mm-hmm.
and then it opens. a very interesting and very honest dialogue. Um, so I think
Indeed,
there's so
yeah.
many
Instead of
others.
shying
Yeah,
away
yeah,
from it, right? Instead of,
yes,
I
yeah.
think
Because
some
I
teachers
think in the
like
past,
shy away from it, and
yes,
I think
yeah.
it all has to do with the teacher's attitude towards their own, you
I
know.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more because if I think some teachers might believe in this myth, the native speaker myth, which is a myth,
It
because
is.
we know that there are more non-native speakers of English in the world and more non-native speakers who are teachers in the world. But this myth, unfortunately, hasn't been eradicated. So some teachers might believe and might contribute to pass the myth on to other students, to teachers, by being quiet. So I think if you're quiet and if you hear a little bit of criticism and if you're quiet, then you're just contributing to the myth
Absolutely.
to be carried on. So I think it's important for us to really stick up for ourselves and promote awareness that, well, that's not strictly true. And there's so much that we can contribute. And non-native speakers of English are as valuable, as relevant as native speakers. So
Great.